captured in the Microsoft Cloud along
Elaine
with
Coloris.
Great.
Is now joining.
Thank you,
You're
Jen.
welcome.
Welcome, Elaine. We're going to go live in 60 seconds.
Okay, and I'm not, oh, there's the chat. Okay.
All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the audio on. So from this point forward, just assume that everybody can hear what you're saying on YouTube. All right, thanks everybody. We're going live right now.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Charla Hank. I am the current chair of the City of San Diego Accessibility Advisory Board. We're going to do a quick roll call to confirm attendance. When I call your name, please unmute yourself and say present. Board member Wayne Landon. Okay. I think we're having an issue here. Sounds like we are not being heard.
Present.
Time. Sorry, Time, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, present. This is
Okay, great.
Wayne.
Thank you. Board member Patricia Siglin Perry.
She's having trouble right now hearing.
Okay, maybe I should ask at this point if everyone can take a look really quick. I'll stop for just a minute. And if all of you can see, if you can all make sure that you're prepared to be unmuted. Okay. Patricia?
She may have to call in. Can you skip her for now?
Yes. Okay, board member Elaine Coloris, I know she is unable to call in, or excuse me, she's unable to be present here, but I know that she is.
No, Charlotte.
Oh.
Charlotte, it's Elaine.
Okay, so are we good? Okay. Board member
Can you hear
Michelle.
me?
Yes, I can. Thank
okay,
you.
thank you.
Board member Michelle Krishy.
Present.
Board member Kim Gibbons.
Present.
Board member Mary Wolford.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Your attendance has been noted. Also joining us today is the Office of ADA Compliance and Accessibility staff, including Executive Director Time Curtis and Project Officer Alejandra Warner. Before we get into today's agenda, I'm going to call on Time Curtis to remind us of the guidelines for today's meeting.
Excuse me. Thank you. Please note the buttons on your Teams meeting bar that pops up when you move the mouse. The camera icon is to activate your video. The microphone is to mute and unmute. Please remember to stay muted when you are not talking and to unmute yourself when you speak. Nobody can unmute you except yourself. You will also see the chat window button. Please keep your chat window open at all times, as you will be using the chat to signal when you'd like to speak. When wanting to make a motion, second a motion, or participate in discussion, please type speak in the chat box and Chair Hank will call on you in the order entered. Please refrain from using the meeting chat for anything other than signaling that you'd like to speak in order to comply with the Brown Act. The chat is televised on our live and recorded meeting and is part of the official record. Thank you.
Okay. And this is still being televised, is that correct? Because I've had some people comment that they have not seen it yet. Just want to make sure that we are recording.
We are recording it and it should be live on the city's YouTube channel.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, we're now going to move on to non-agenda public comment. The public was invited to submit public comment on agenda and non-agenda items via web form accessible through the agenda and the board's website. Time, will you please read aloud any non-agenda public comment submitted per city public comment protocol?
Yes, we received 5 public comments. The first from Lionel Bergera from National City. He wrote, defund the police. Our communities have experienced devastating loss at the hands of racist police. We remember what has happened to Earl McNeil, Raul Rivera, Jonathan Coronel, Aaliyah Jenkins, Alfred Alongo, Sergio Wake, and James Lacey. Our next public comment is from Christy Hansen in San Diego, California. She wrote, "The current CRB structure has failed the community for far too long. We cannot allow the police to continue policing themselves and the politics of City Hall and the Police Officer Association to overshadow the needs of the public. We demand subpoena power, independent investigators, independent legal counsel, and independence from the mayor's office. We need to know that these reforms are being taken seriously, and we aren't just putting lip service from City Hall. We aren't just getting lip service from City Hall. San Diegans deserve transparency and accountability in policing, and we encourage the members of the current CRB to publicly support San Diegans for injustice ballot proposal." Our next public comment is from first name TJEIE Bonaparte. They wrote, "The current CRB structure has failed the community for far too long. We cannot allow the police to continue policing themselves and the politics of City Hall and the Police Officer Association to overshadow the needs of the public. We demand subpoena power, independent investigators, independent legal counsel, and independence from the mayor's office. We need to know that these reforms are being taken seriously, and we aren't just getting lip service from City Hall. San Diegans deserve transparency and accountability in policing, and we encourage the members of the current CRB to publicly support the San Diegans for Justice ballot proposal." The next public comment is from Natalia Butenko from Chula Vista. She wrote, "The current CRB structure has failed the community for far too long. We cannot allow the police to continue policing themselves and the politics of City Hall and the Police Officer Association to overshadow the needs of the public. We demand subpoena power, independent investigators, independent legal counsel, and independence from the mayor's office. We need to know that these reforms are being taken seriously, and we aren't just getting lip service from City Hall. San Diegans deserve transparency and accountability in policing, and we encourage the members of the current CRB to publicly support San Diegans for Justice ballot proposal." The final comment is a duplicate.
Okay.
That concludes public comment.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I have to ask again, because this is all still somewhat new. Is anyone, I don't know if anyone on here from our board, if you're also watching this, are you having issues seeing it? Because I'm hearing that there's some glitchiness.
Correct. I just got a text from Oscar Gomez on my staff, and he is also having trouble viewing this on YouTube. We do have an IT person helping us out with YouTube, so I'm sure that she is able to hear us and aware of it, and will work out anything that she can. Alternatively, I am recording this meeting, and we can upload that to multiple different sites, including the city's website and the Accessibility Advisory Board website if we do not have YouTube available.
Okay, great. Thank you. See, look how we're doing with all this.
Pardon the interruption. Jen LeBron with the Department of IT. We are aware of some connectivity issues that we are happening right now, and we are working through those as swiftly as we can to get the stream back up to full speed. So apologies for the delay here, but we will ensure that we have the full recording uploaded to YouTube at the very least if we continue to have these network issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, thank you, Time. Now we're going to move on to our first informational item, and that is titled Proposed Design for Crossing Bike Lane from Floating Parking Space to Curb Ramp. Alejandra from the city's Office of ADA Compliance and Accessibility will present.
Good day, everybody. This is Alex Warner. I'm with the Office of Accessibility. And I will share my screen so we can go over the small graphs. Are you able to look at my detail right now?
We're not seeing it yet, no.
Okay, let me try again. What about now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so this is the floating accessible parking spaces. On your screen, you see the general detail that shows the accessible parking space with the little ISA symbol. And we have 5-foot striping, and that's blue hatching around the parking space. So now depends of the type of intersection, the crosswalk will be marked accordingly. So on the next page, I'm going to show you. This intersection has a flashing beacon. A flashing beacon. I'm going to go to the next page to show you what the flashing beacon looks like for those that haven't seen it. This is a rapid flashing beacon. So on this intersection, the accessible space, you can see the little ISA symbol, and then we have this striping, and there is a stop marking on both sides for vehicles and for the bicycle lane. And there is a wide stripe that symbolizes, that marks up the, we call it a stop limit line. And that's just before the flashing beacon. Besides the flashing beacon, it will be another sign just before the flashing beacon that it says yield to pedestrians. Now, on this graphic, I want to show you one thing. So this is what we call it the front of the block. And we're putting the space at the front of the blocks because we will be able to put a stop, and a bicycle can stop right there. Either if we have a crosswalk or in this case, a stop limit line with a flashing beacon. On the case of the back of the block on the left of your graphic where it says curb return and number 1, we're not going to locate accessible parking spaces on those locations because it's not for sure that the bicycle will stop. We don't have any markings and we don't want to just leave it to a yield. So on those situations, on those locations, we are not going to put accessible parking spaces just because the bicycle is crossing the intersection and we don't know if it's going to be able to stop. But in the case at the top of the block where we are showing it right here, there is all the markings and features for the intersection for them to stop for sure. The other type of intersection will be one, and this is my last little page. In this case, we have an always stop. And in this case, we can put the accessible parking space at the end because there is markings on both sides. And we are also including red curbs on one of the streets. So to make sure that there's visibility for a person using the loading aisle and using the crosswalk. Do I have any questions? Is there any questions?
Board members, if you have any questions, do you have any questions at this time? I don't see any coming in through the chat. If you do have a question, if you would type speak, please. Okay, I don't see any. All right, thank you, Alex.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, okay, and time, do we have any public comment for this agenda item?
We do not.
Okay. All right, and I think we didn't have any questions or any comments. Do we have any comments, board members? No. Okay. We're now going to move on to the second information item on the agenda, which is the FY21 proposed budget. Time, is there any public comment for this item?
We do not have any.
Okay, great. I would like to open this up. So we know that the report just came out yesterday, and I did ask, I don't know if there's anybody that may have also be checking in here, but I have not had time to completely go through all of it myself, but have been talking to our committee that we had, which is Mary and Patricia, and we had a few minutes before this call to talk. I'd like to also open it up to both of them. So as the board knows, we came together as a committee, the three of us, prior to what this has been going on a couple months now through all of COVID. And we've reached out to the district offices, to the mayor's office, to the IDA to be able to find out what we can all do to keep from having any changes, for one, right now, to moving the Office of ADA Compliance over to mobility. Also, we have concerns because it does seem like the Office of ADA Compliance keeps moving further and further from the mayor's office and from where it really should be is on the forefront, and making sure that we're taking care of those with disabilities here in San Diego. So we also had concerns because of the fact that the Office of ADA Compliance was going to go from 5 full-time employees down to the proposed was to 3. So Time, can you share with us a little bit if you've had a chance, or anyone else that has some input, if you'd like to, first I'll send it to Time. Time, if you've had a chance to go through that, what are you seeing, with those concerns that we presented?
Thank you, Charla. Time Curtis with the Office of ADA Compliance and Accessibility. As Charla mentioned, the IBA released their recommendations for council for the FY21 budget that they will be voting on this coming Monday at 11 o'clock is the beginning of the council meeting. And their recommendations I sent out to the board, and for members of the public, you can find that their recommendations on the IBA website, which is sandiego.gov/IBA. And the IBA also put out a memorandum that included all 9 council members' budget recommendations. So within those council member recommendations, several requested that no changes be made to departments, which means they asked for no creation of new departments, including the mobility office, of which we were going to be a part of. Because only, I believe, 3 council members made the recommendation to not create new departments, it has to have 5 or more council members with the same recommendation to make it into the IBA's recommendations. So right now, the IBA is not making any recommendations to change the proposed budget. So there's, there's still a very good chance that ADA will be a part of the mobility board. And I think that's about it. There's also, there was no recommendations regarding the move of our complaint coordinator is being proposed to be moved to the homelessness department, and there was no recommended changes for that to stop that. So we may be, that's going to be decided on Monday.
Okay, thank you. Board members, please type speak in the chat box if you would like to comment. When I call on you, please state your name and your comments. Patricia? Maybe.
Hi, my name is Patricia Siglin Perry, and I'm having a little connection troubles, but I'm not sure, I thought, is homeless a current department, or would that be part of the decision not to establish a new department? In which case, if that would pass, then Oscar would stay where he is. Is that correct?
If they don't create homelessness as a department, then it would, they still may have the need to move Oscar. It depends. I don't know the answer to that. It's not, if they don't create homelessness, then Oscar's position may go back into ADA. I can't guarantee that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other board members? And I'll call on you in just one second. Time, it sounds like we're still having issues, so I just want to let everyone know that if you are unable to view this live right now, we will go ahead. There will be a link set up so that you'll be able to review the recording. So I know that we're still hearing that there's some issues. Mary?
I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. This is Mary Wolford, and I guess I have a question for Time and then a concern. Time, I'm wondering at this point in the process, where you would say our best strategy would be. What is the best use of our energy at this point to get the message across that we're very distressed by the way that the budget does not address your office's needs and sort of further dilutes the effectiveness of your office, because with only 2 staff really, because you're going to lose Brock when he retires this month. So with only 2 of you, my big concern would be that you are going to have a tough time effectively managing the transition plan and the projects and all of the technical support that you supply to all the departments who call you for questions and advice about ADA law and everything else, all of their services and activities that the city offers, which must be ADA compliant by federal law, plus all of the complaints that Oscar and Elvia used to manage. I don't see, I mean, with all due respect, I know that you and Alex work very hard and you're very capable and competent, but that's quite a load to expect you to manage without dropping the ball. And so I'm feeling like disabled people who represent close to 20% of the population in San Diego, according to the last census, are sort of being, their needs are being minimized. How are they being provided equity with all the other citizens in San Diego? The ADA is a civil rights law, so I'm just feeling like the rights of disabled folks in San Diego are being minimized by the things that this budget is taking away from your office.
The council will be hearing and deciding on the final budget on this Monday. And so calling the council members with any concerns regarding any part of the budget, including the proposed ADA changes, is you asked for how best members of the public and members of the board can affect change before the budget is voted on. And it is really going to be calling the council members, speaking to their chiefs of staff or their budget analysts, and showing up on the telephone during the final budget, making those calls, being there, via telephone during the meeting.
Okay, so it sounds like all of us on the board and the members of the public who may be listening right now should be calling council offices and calling in to the final budget approval meeting too.
Yep, that's how you would affect change through the council process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And again, Time, you said that meeting is on Monday at 11, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is that something that could be put up on the ADA's website that we could also share? Or I know it's on the website in general for the city, but is that something we can share?
I can put it on the ADA website.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, anyone else from the board who would like to speak? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else. Something that I'd like to mention to here is, we have been working very hard, talking to almost all of the district offices, and trying to reach out to every office, the office of IBA as well. And we were pleasantly surprised, not surprised, pleasantly, we're very pleased is what I'm trying to say, very pleased with the response that we got from those district offices and from the IBA, and the support that we received. I think, the Accessibility Advisory Board, and this will go right into our kind of segue into our next item that we'll be talking about, but I think that this was a little bit of a wake-up call, that, we were looking at the budget and trying to figure out ways in which we could best support our city from the Accessibility Advisory Board. And, the things that I loved that I heard on those phone calls when we were talking to the offices, as well as listening in on the meetings and the support that we had been given, sounds like many are just saying, with COVID, let's just keep it all status quo. Why are we making any changes? There was some very positive feedback about, trying to keep at least who we have currently, who the Office of ADA Compliance has currently on their staff, probably not being able to right now with budget cuts because of COVID, being able to add to that staff, but hopeful that maybe we can readdress this again next year to sort of beef up the staff, so that we do look more like some of the other bigger cities that are even smaller than us, such as San Francisco, that have more staff members, more support. We're not as big as LA, but they have over 20 members that support people with disabilities in their compliance office. So hopeful that we can keep on pushing towards making those calls right now and on Monday, so that we can affect change and support those with disabilities currently. And Mary, thank you for mentioning that, those are 20% of our population here in San Diego. 20% of the people in San Diego have a disability, which is not only a disability that is based on mobility. It's also based on maybe some things that are not visible, some other disabilities that are not visible. So we need to just try to educate. Not all of us, especially in this day and age right now, what our world's going through. We just need to recognize all people. So I'm going to, if there's no one else, I'm not seeing anyone else at this point. Okay. We're now going to move on to information item number 3. This is a board discussion on our near and long-term goals for this board. Time, is there any public comment on this item?
There is not.
Okay, great. Okay, and if what I'd like to do is call on the board at this time. I think this is probably the first time I've seen homework in a long time, so I apologize for that. But if there are any comments on ways, I know in the past, and how this came to be is during some of our board meetings, we've had a lot of presenters come in, but that sometimes we need more time to discuss, other projects, other ways that we can help our city. So I'm going to open it up to board members at this point. If you have any items that you'd like to discuss or propose, if you would please type speak. And I'm not seeing anyone. So, and this is also time if you wanted to, this is also the time if you'd like to talk a little bit about things that you would prefer to see on the board. So we've talked about maybe there are other presenters that you would like to come to our meetings. So if you have any input on that, please type speak. I know you guys don't want to hear me talk. Okay, Mary, thank you.
This is Mary Wolford. I guess something that I've wondered about for a long time is if there's a way that the board can do a little more outreach to the disabled community in San Diego. For one reason, it would be nice to hear more of their individual needs, things that they would like us to speak up for on their behalf. And secondly, we could maybe educate them about how to call in or write or somehow contact the council offices about their particular needs, because then it wouldn't just be coming from us, it would be coming right from the folks who need help the most. So I guess I'd like to throw some ideas around about how we can cultivate more communication with the disabled community and find some folks who would get involved by contributing ideas and making contact with the powers that be.
I love that idea. Anybody have any comment to that or want to add to? Thank you, Mary. We're a very quiet bunch today. Well, I'm going to kind of add to that as well. I know that we may start to see some more people from the public coming in. I've heard from some parents, and I know I don't think they got their requests in today in time. So hopefully by next meeting, we'll be able to hear more from the public about, how they would like to see, the Accessibility Advisory Board support them, and how, I'm sure, Time, I don't want to speak for you, but, we support you, but how can we best help the Office of ADA Compliance so that they can support those concerns that are out there within the city. So I'm hoping that we will start to hear more from others. And I also would like to address maybe the website. I do apologize, but I'm going to lose battery. This is not good. Please excuse me just a moment. So sorry, that was kind of a rookie move. I thought it was plugged in. Apologize. I would like to see, I've been looking at, and I don't know if all of you have had time. Maybe this is something that we can bring up for next meeting. Again, maybe there wasn't enough time for everyone to, to do a little bit of legwork. But I was looking at some other websites and noticed what they were doing. And, I just feel like, we're doing a great job here. Definitely, Time, you and your team have been doing a phenomenal job. Hopefully you won't lose any additional FTE so that we can move forward and do more, because obviously we don't want to put any more on you at this point. That's why you have us to try to help and back up ways in which we can support you. But I think that it really, it was really helpful for me to be able to look and see how all people with disabilities are being supported in other cities as well. And, we want to make sure that, that San Diego is, is the most accessible city for all, especially as tourism starts back up. And that was something that we shared with the district offices. We want to be certain that we are there when everybody comes back out, that they want to come to San Diego, because tourism is really, the money that comes in from tourism is really what supports our city. So if you have any additional comments, board members, if not, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Okay. All right. All right, I'm sorry, Time, did I ask you? I did ask if there's any public, so we're good to move on. All right, moving on to the last informational item, number 4. I'm sorry, Wayne. Wayne, I apologize. I was moving a little too quick. Would you like to speak?
That's all right. I was just wondering on the last one, when you were talking about the website and stuff, I mean, one of the big things would be just keeping it updated to, even like the board, on there. And I know at one time they, not that I care if our pictures are on there or not, but they sent out for everybody to send it back, and we did that. And I'm just wondering what happened with that.
Time, can you comment on that?
Sure. I did ask for headshots, and then we had people resign, and there was a lot of movement in the board at that time. So that's a project that I can pick up when I have a moment and try to get those pictures and bios back up on the website.
Okay, thank you. And I don't even care about the pictures, but it just I think that's one of the things with any website is just really keeping it up to date, because if it's not, people tend to, if they look at it and it's not, I know they just kind of steer away from that.
Sure, and it should be up to date. I put all of our minutes once they've been approved, and all of our agendas and any updates for meetings and locations. Everything should be up to date. So if you ever find anything that's not, please do let me know.
And yes, I did in the past, and it looks really good now. Thank you.
Is there anything else that anyone would like to see? Maybe if you were coming in from another city, or you were just moving to San Diego and you had a disability, is there anything that any other board member would like to see? Because that's probably the one place that they're going to go is to the website. And is there anything else, board members, that you'd like to see on there? Okay.
Well, if people have ideas later, you can always individually email me. It doesn't need to be a board decision. If you have a good idea for the website, I'm always available and all ears. So let me know.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. I have a funny feeling we're going to hear more about this later, because I know that we had, this was a topic that everybody wanted to discuss. So. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the last informational item, number 4, which is to discuss the board's annual report. Time, is there any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Okay. And I think, Time, did you want to, could you give us just a brief explanation on any past annual reports?
Yeah, we did have one past annual report that Wayne had helped put together. I could not find it before this meeting, but it is in the Muni Code that the board is to submit an annual report to council and the mayor. Specifically, it reads under Muni Code 26.35, duties and functions, provide an annual report to the mayor and council detailing the activities and recommendations of the board. So it doesn't necessarily, when it says activities and recommendations, it doesn't have to be an item that you voted on necessarily. It could still be recommendations on all of the projects that you've been reviewing and trying to make better for people with disabilities and universal design concepts.
When has that typically
That can also
gone
be
out?
something that it has gone out in the January, February, at the beginning of the year, I believe. Looking at the previous item, when you were looking to discuss short and long-term goals for the board, that's something that you can look ahead and think what type of recommendations would be in our annual report, and kind of help that guide you for future reference. If you see any gaps or issues you'd like strengthened that the city has purview over, that would be included in your work plan, so that you can then make recommendations and include that in your annual report.
Okay, thank you. And I agree. I think that that's something we should be looking at in, the long-term goals. That is something that also came up based on budget, that we would be submitting that out. Patricia, I think that was something that you brought up when we were, in the committee and talking about that, and it seemed very well received. That the district offices would love to see that as well as we move forward. I think that also, just speaking personally, I feel like, that also says that we're here. And I think, out of sight, out of mind, right? If we're not out there, and we're not presenting and speaking, no one knows that we're here. So, and we don't want that. Are there any comments on this item from the board? If so, if you'd please type speak. Okay. All right, and I'm sorry I give a little bit of delay here, but I know sometimes it takes a minute to type. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to Universal Design Ad Hoc. Any committee updates? Time, do we have any public comments for this item?
We do not.
Okay, are there any updates from this committee?
This is Kim. And just wanted to let you know that under these circumstances where everyone's been staying at home, it's been a little bit more difficult to look at matters in this committee. I will tell you that members of my orientation and mobility staff have been working diligently with Alex and Brock on various plans and submitting some background information from the field of blindness and visual impairment. Wayne, I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to discuss. I know one area that did come up to me was the discussion about having the touchless walk, don't walk signs, since many people now don't want to touch. And I don't know where we are with that.
I can't think of anything right now.
For the touchless walk, no walk, I know there was discussion about how La Mesa had done automatic signalization so that it would automatically trigger, I'm sorry, I can't remember the word, but the walk signal would turn on through every cycle. And I think for the city of San Diego, there may be some intersections that are busy enough for that to make sense, but the amount of time that somebody waits is just is much longer than if you were able to activate a walk signal with your elbow. So they're trying to switch out those that have the smaller kind of hidden ones that you have to push into a hole. They're switching them out so that they're the larger disc shaped ones that you can just knock with your elbow to keep the germs down, but still allow a quicker walk signal.
Time, how difficult are those to find if you're visually impaired with your elbow? Has anybody given a test?
I don't know if that, Alex, if you're still on, do you know if that also includes a the beeping sound?
No, this is Alex. Yeah, we have met with the mobility specialist a couple times this week, our mobility consultant, and he agrees that we should not turn them off or make them touchless, that we really need to keep the push buttons activated. And then we should, they can use the elbow or they can use the cane to push that push button. But they really need to have it. And the ticking sound, no, that's not going to be deactivated. At this point, TEO has not plans to deactivate anything yet.
So Kim, if your mobility specialists have a difference of opinion, then we can work with them. But the consultant that we used is not recommending the automatic cycle of crossing. They're still recommending the push button.
Okay, thanks for the feedback.
Alex, did you have something else to comment on?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Kim's mobility specialists because they love helping us, volunteering to go and look at locations. So we really appreciate that they get very involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments? All right, okay, we're going to move on to the chair's report. Time, do we have any public comments for this item?
We do not.
Okay. I'm going to share just a couple of things that I've been working on and that I've seen. And Time, I'm wondering if we might be able to post some of this. I know that there is a COVID link on the Office of ADA Compliance's website. But I'm wondering if maybe we should add things such as this. But yesterday I had received from the State Council on Developmental Disabilities, and I'd also like to share this with board members and anyone that might be listening in. They have 2 flyers that I'll share with Time, and if we're able to post them or maybe at least send them to board members to share. They were sent out today regarding distribution of PPE. So it sounds as if there's been, and I've heard this not just from them, but within the whole COVID crisis, that there are a lot of families that either can't get out, they need things such as even diapers and wipes and all the, hand sanitizer and the, gloves. I heard a story today that, people, whether they're their parents or they're, people working, working in homes to support individuals with disabilities, that, they can't even get the appropriate gloves and PPE that they need to be able to, dignify someone, when they're helping to support them. So they're using even, gloves that they might get, to do house cleaning, because they can't get the appropriate PPE. So I was glad to see that they are going to be doing distributions in Chula Vista and San Marcos coming up. So I'll go ahead and share those flyers with you, Time, and the dates in which they're coming up this month.
Yeah, I'm happy to post that as well.
So those are things that we want to hear about, I would imagine, as well. I know that there are many other organizations, countywide, statewide, but those are the things I personally would love to see up on our, on the website, if there's some way that, we can get that information. Obviously, it takes a lot to continually keep up a website, but knowing where to go. And one thing that I did hear in talking to, Health and Human Services, call 211. I still hear there's people that are having a hard time with food. So I'd just like to recommend that, that people that are in need, please call 211, because I understand that they are disseminating this information in Time. I believe that would also come to your office if they need help. Is that correct?
Through 211?
Yeah, would 211 contact you if there, if there was something specific to the Office of ADA Compliance?
I haven't had them ever contact me. They are generally a little more on the county side.
Okay.
But they do citywide, and they help citywide, our residents and folks that live and work here. But Get It Done is the city's app for anything that needs to be done, but it's more on the physical built side of the city. So we use Get It Done for many of our complaints, or just have folks give us a call at our office.
Okay. Well, maybe that's somewhere that we should be helping. Maybe there is something like that. If Get It Done isn't, if it's more construction based or project based, maybe that's somewhere that the AAB should look at. Where is that one place? Yes, they can call your office, but having something like a general number where it will get to you. I would
just
hope that.
depends on what it is that they would need to access. That is a city activity or program.
Okay,
But we can talk offline and figure out what that
Yeah.
might be.
great. Okay, I think that's all that I have at this time. So now we'll move on to the executive director's report. Time? Do you have any public comments? And if you'd share your report.
There's no public comments. Just here to remind you that city services are still up and running, and Get It Done is still active, and it's a great way to report any physical something that's wrong that you need fixed in the city, including a pothole or graffiti. But some of the city services are at a lower level than typical just because of the COVID response. So they may not be taking certain types of complaints, but you'll know that by submitting a Get It Done. And of course, you can always contact our office. And you can contact me directly, and that's 619-236-5985. But reminder to everyone to, if you have any comment on the city's budget, again, the budget meeting begins at 11 on Monday, June 8th. So give a call and get out there for anything regarding the budget that you would like to either support or ask for a change.
Thank you, Time. Board members, if you'd like to speak, if you'd please type speak. If you have any comments or questions for Time. Patricia?
I just wanted to reiterate that there's been 3 constant voices and 1 additional, but we really need everybody to voice their concern on the budget. It's really numbers. I think they're hearing us, but the more, the merrier. We've heard on a road item, maybe 30 or 40 people were calling in on just that one item. So it's really important. I know it's tough hanging in there. I put it on my TV on mute and have it on the phone to listen, and then just kind of do other things if you can. I was multitasking while we wait. So it's really important, and we really appreciate your help. Thanks.
Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, I second that with you. It is difficult, but you can also, I know that some people, if you're not able to sit on, you can also put in comment. You can send them in ahead of time. So I'd recommend, doing that soon. If you're not able to, at least then you have a voice. Wayne?
You just covered what I was going to say.
Sorry.
But I had to do that when I couldn't get on there. So that's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go over any old business. And Time, I don't think there's public comments on this, is there?
No.
Okay, didn't think so. All right, board members, if there's any old business that you'd like to discuss, if you'd please type speak. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. So we will move on then to board comments and announcements. Are there any comments or announcements at this time, board members? Please type speak. Mary?
Hi, Mary Wolford. I have a question for Time. Time, do you know if Brock is listening in today?
He was trying on YouTube, but there's a lot of issues, so I don't know if he is able to right now.
Okay, well, I know that he's going to be retiring this month. And so that'll happen before our next board meeting when we might have the opportunity to thank him. I don't know how you're going to replace him. He's a wealth of knowledge. And I've always admired his passion and how hard he worked all the time I was there. And also, I think the board has observed how much he's tried to be helpful and knowledgeable and pass that along to the board members, staying after board meetings to talk and explain to the board members who don't have his level of technical expertise. So on behalf of the board, I'd just like to thank him, and I hope you can pass that along, since we probably won't have the opportunity to do that. And I'm also wondering how you're gonna try to find a new person to come in and try to pick up where he left off.
Yeah, Brock is irreplaceable. I am having a hard time imagining our ADA office without him. His knowledge base and work ethic and just level of all around ADA expertise. And he's a great guy to work with. He taught me a lot. So yeah, it's hard times losing him. And I will be replacing him with the assistance of personnel. As you, Mary, know, probably more than anyone else on the board, is that, we have to work through the represented, employee represented areas to find his replacement. And I will be definitely trying to ensure that his replacement has the ADA expertise. But I'm hoping that we're able to get somebody at least and that is extremely interested in ADA and learning if they don't have the expertise already. So, just hiring at the city is a whole different animal because of all of the different, the strata of he's a project assistant and it has to be within certain, there's a lot of, there's a lot of rules and regulations regarding hiring. So we will hire within those and hire somebody just as good, and hopefully it doesn't take too long. But yeah, it's a sad day when Brock leaves. His last day is officially, I believe, June 18th. June 19th, but who comes in on their last day after a 30-year?
I know. Well, I guess I'm just wondering, are you possibly able to justify opening that advertisement for project assistant up to the outside with the hope of requesting someone who is a CASP or who is studying to be a certified access specialist? And if you can't, are you able to gear your interview toward including the expectation that you're looking for someone who is willing to learn and willing to study actively to become a certified access specialist, because the work of your office is so specialized and you really have a need for that?
Yeah, that would be great. I think the pay differential might preclude that, but I will do the best I can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mary, thank you for bringing that up. We're definitely going to miss Brock. That is for sure. And I'm sad that I didn't know that sooner, that we could have done something during this meeting. So we'll have to figure that out. So June 19th, you said time? Is that correct? Okay. All right. We do have some comments. Kim, please go ahead.
This is Kim Gibbons. I just also wanted to give my congratulations to Brock on his retirement and to let him know how much he will be missed. He has done so much for those individuals in San Diego who are blind or vision impaired, along with other disabilities. I'm repeating what others have said, that he's just a wealth of knowledge, and he's been so instrumental in so many of the things that we've been able to do. So I just wanted to add my thanks to Brock for all of his hard work.
And Brock is listening.
Yay. Can we give a little round of applause? Are we allowed to do that? Congratulations, Brock. We'll be sad to see you go. Wayne, you wanted to comment as well.
Yes, I also wanted to just express my gratitude to Brock for all he's done for the board and for me. He's answered a lot of questions for me. And also, I was wondering, like on the city, but I guess it doesn't, I thought about it and it doesn't look like there's going to be any chance. Do you ever hire somebody before the other person is gone so there can be a little bit of training or anything, or they just come in and?
Sometimes we can, but the budget, the crash of the city's budget made things different. So.
Okay. Thanks, Brock.
Thanks, Wayne. Patricia, go ahead.
There. I just want to echo those statements, Brock. You know that I have full respect for you and all that you have done over the years. Having been in that office, I know how integral your position is and how time depends on you and what impact that you have daily in your job. And so just saying thank you too, and we will totally miss you. And hope you come back and visit us.
I think we usually have board seats available as well, right?
Yes.
Good point.
Yes. Elaine, did you want to say something?
Yeah, that was exactly what, this is Elaine. That was exactly what I was going to say. Does Brock have any interest on serving on our board?
I will certainly try to recruit him.
Any other board members want to make comment? Mary's saying yes to Brock coming to the board. I see that. Okay. Well, it seems difficult to just move on from this, but I guess I have to keep the meeting going, Brock. So please know it's just, this is proper protocol here. I have to keep going, but we will definitely miss you. And it's sad to not be able to see you in person before you move on to other things. So congratulations and good luck to you. Are there any other board comments or announcements at this point? Okay, I do see, Wayne, that you said yes to Brock as well. This is going to continue on. Great. All right, I'm going to, since it doesn't look like we have any other board member comments, that does conclude our meeting. And our next meeting will be Thursday, July 2nd from 1:30 to 3:30. Members of the public, you'll be able to watch the meeting live on the same YouTube channel, which we understand, I think, finally came back up at the end. And you'll be able to use the same link as provided. Please note that if you do want to make comment on the agenda, that please go ahead and do so prior to the meeting. Go ahead and look at the website and you can get that information there. We are in adjournment. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you on July 2nd.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you. Peace.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Elaine Coloris.